Hi, my name is Eduardo Gomes, and I'm the Managing Director for Waddington Europe. Keeping up with demand at the moment hasn't been difficult. Waddington has been one of those companies that has always invested in extra capacity to be able to supply the market without any hiccups. So I would say that on average, we always have around between 25 and 30% available capacity to be able to comply with seasonality, extra demands from customers, and so on. So from a demand point of view, even with the peak demand and the panic buying that we saw in March, that didn't cause any issue in terms of the availability and capacity for Waddington to supply the market. The biggest challenges for Waddington as a business, I think there are two main challenges. Okay, I think the entire plastics awareness that people have been talking and this negative feeling that has prevailed in the public about plastics. So that's a big thing. And I would say the second one is related with recycled, 100% recycled materials and the sustainability that the companies need to achieve to deliver those products to the market. So the first one, in terms of the awareness, I think there's this big negative feeling about plastics, but people also need to understand that in the modern world, we cannot live without plastics. So there was a transition, and plastics still help us in different things, that it would not be possible to live in the modern world without plastics. We have, let's say, plastics that will protect food, for instance, reduce the waste of food. We have, if we compare, for instance, automotive industry with the old cars, a big part of cars nowadays are made of plastics and they reduce the weight, so they consume less fuel. We have all the medical devices that are made in plastics, lots of developments in construction that were done because we have plastics. So all that is here to stay. So we cannot go from a situation where we had plastics everywhere and the culture of throwing away to a situation where plastics are not good and we are not going to use plastics anymore. So there needs to be a balance between those two things. So Waddington is working on that. So all the plastics awareness thing, we are working with BPF, with our customers, with our suppliers to bring awareness to the general public of the benefits that the plastic has. The second one, as I was talking about, in terms of 100% recycled materials, everyone is talking about recyclability and sustainability. We are fully on board on that. That's why Waddington Europe has the capacity of a full vertical integration, so we can extrude our own sheets and recoup the waste that we generate. And some of our sites are already zero landfill waste. We've managed to achieve that. So from that point of view, it's also important. It's a concern to us because the demand is going up very rapidly and there starts to be a shortage of supply in terms of PCW. So that for the entire industry is something that needs to be addressed. So as I said, from my point of view, two challenges. So the awareness of plastics and how we can, to a certain extent, educate the public about the benefits of the plastics. And the second one about what we call technically PCW and the availability of recycled materials to be able to supply the market. Well, in terms of capacity, no, we are not maximum of capacity. As I said before, we always have about 25 or 30% extra capacity to be able to reach special requests and urgent requests from customers. So from that point of view, no, we are not at the maximum capacity. In terms of the production increase, we are seeing a slowdown at the moment after the, let's say, the panic buying from March, where we saw a big increase of orders. April has shown a slowdown of the production. If we take out, let's say, the short-term issue caused by the coronavirus, I would say that the production for Waddington Europe has been growing steadily, and that is our plan. We want to grow with our customers. We are still, even in the difficult period that we are facing, we are still winning new business, and that for us is very important. We saw a slowdown of new projects coming in, but we are still winning some new projects and getting some new business, and that for us shows the strengths of Waddington Europe. So the switch from food production to medical supplies was not difficult, especially because when we are talking about medical supplies, there are different types of medical supplies. So if we are talking about what we usually would call medical devices, all those need to go through extensive trials, approvals, and all that. So, and that is not what we are talking. Here we are talking about face shields that were requested via one of our customers, Ryco, and that is a medical, let's say, a medical product, but doesn't need the extensive licensing that is associated with other products. So, from that perspective, the technology being used is the same, the resources are the same. There are some extra care that we need to put into the production, but I would say no, it was not difficult to transfer the knowledge and the ability of our resources from food to medical. Yes, we are still producing food packaging. So our main market, I would say, is the food packaging, and because again, food is considered one of those essential services. So yes, we are still producing, and gladly we are still coping with all the orders from our customers. So no issue on that. We've been supplying Rico for 10 years. And again, it has been a long relation. We've been their partners in packaging since the beginning for 10 years. And I think it's very nice to be looked into when Rico thinks about helping the NHS. And they thought immediately about us. So that shows the strong relation that we have with them. And it's good to be considered on those things. So yes, I think it's a very nice relation we have with Rico as a supplier. But I would say for the moment, and considering the situation where we are, our prime goal is to keep supplying all our customers with the level of service that they require, and that we've been doing for years. So that is the first point, that we want to make sure that we keep the level of service. The second one is clearly, again, we have the support of Novalex in the States, and we are looking into growing the business in Europe. At the moment, we have 3 geographic locations, so UK, Ireland, and the Netherlands, and definitely we want to grow the business across Europe. So I would say we are here to stay and to make the business grow. Yes, I would leave that one to myself. It's part of the Waddington Europe strategy. As I said before, there are expansion plans that are being discussed. And if I was our competition, I would be paying attention, because, as I said before, we are here to stay. And I would leave it there.